going to conclude module number 1. So let's bring up our screen here. So you should have your alignment 1 iteration up, and we are going to be continuing on from page 33, about halfway down. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create what are called the right-of-way lines. Now, we haven't spoken about this in class yet, but what the right-of-way lines are is, if I zoom into my drawing here, we have our road alignment. Now, the green line here is the center line of our road. It's not the road itself. We want to create the right-of-way lines. And what the right-of-way is, it's the width of land when we are looking in the cross-section that that the municipality owns. So the width will include all the lanes of the roads, any medians, curbs and gutters, any kind of slopes and ditches, drainage ditches or stuff like that. So we want to carve out those lines to show how much width we have to work with here. So we're going to do that right away. So the first thing is we're going to create a new layer called C Road ROW, right of way. First of all, we're going to make it cyan and we're going to make it current. Okay. So I'm going to go to my layer properties here. We're going to create a new layer, C-Road-ROW. Okay. We're going to make it current. And then I'm going to change the color to cyan. Cyan is color number 4. You can just hit it right here. It should say it there. And there we have it. Okay, so it should be the current layer there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a couple of offset lines from our center road here. So they're going to be now... What we want to do is we want to draw 2 right-of-way lines, one on either side of our road alignment, and they have to be like, our right-of-way is 55 meters, so we want to go halfway of that on either side of this. So this is how we do that. You're going to kind of get closer to your road here. You're going to choose your offset tool, which is right here. You have to specify your offset distance. So half of 55 is 27.5. Now, this is how you do this. You're going to click on your center line road. Then you're going to click to the right of it. That'll put an offset line to the right. Then you're going to click the road again. You're going to go to the left. And there we have our offset lines there. And one thing I'm going to mention about these offset lines is they're just lines that we've drawn. If we should alter our road alignment at all, these lines won't adjust. You have to redraw these lines. These are static lines that we have put in here, okay? And we're going to save at this point, make sure we have that. And if you zoom out, you can see that they follow the road all the way down. So that's kind of like the width of land that we have to use for all our work. That's going to include all our lanes and curbs and gutters and any kind of slopes and ditches, a median if we require it in the middle, and so on. Okay, so now we're going to apply our super elevation now to our road. So we're going to select our center line of our road. A new little ribbon here of tools comes up. There's a super elevation tool here. You're going to click on that, and you're going to click on calculate edit super elevation. Now we're going to get this no data exists. So we're going to, since we have not created any super elevation data, we're going to calculate that right now. So you're going to click on the top here. It's going to bring up a window. And we're going to do stuff on all 4 of these sections here. So under roadway type, make sure you have undivided crown checked. And the pivot method, make sure it's center baseline. Mine's selected that way. So you're going to hit next. We're on lanes now. So we're going to make sure that we have 2 lanes on either side. And in the normal lane width, we want this to be, let me just confirm this, 3.7 meters. And the normal lane slope should be -2% here. Okay. Now next, we're going to hit next. We're going to go to shoulder control. We're going to clear where it says outside edge shoulder. There's a box here that says calculate that's checked. We want to make sure that's unchecked. We do not want to use those settings. We're going to go to next. Now, our design criteria file here under attainment is going to be, we're going to change the file that we use. Now, finally, we're going to get to use that Canada TAC file that you've downloaded, one of our 3 base files that we used when we started the module. So you're just going to click to the right, and you're going to go to where that is. I'm going to go to my Should be in your Seneca Drive folder, and there it is, Canada TAC 2022. We're going to open that up. It just changes that there, and then we're going to change the super elevation rate table here to 6%. This is kind of like choosing, you know, our tables that we have for our spiral parameters and our super elevation rate. This is similar to that. So we're going to choose 6% here. There we go. And then we're going to hit finish. And a panorama opens up here. And basically what this gives us is just a whole bunch of data, all the critical points of the super elevation that we're doing there in terms of station values and then the grade, how it's changing here. One way you can check if you did something right here is the length of the runoff should be equivalent to your length of spiral. So remember, length of spiral is a squared over r, and I've double checked, and this works out to my a squared over r for my road here. So I'm going to close the panorama view. So we're going to just review the super elevation values here. So in the alignment tab here, we're going to go back here. This is how we check stuff. So we can go back to super elevation. Now that we've entered all those values, if we hit calculate and edit super elevation, a different window comes up. And it just gives us all our data here that we have here. You can check here that your radius is correct that you put in, that your design speed is correct. The important thing to check here is that it should say super elevation status is calculated. If it doesn't say that here, you can, this grayed out recalculate button, you can hit that and it will recalculate everything again, okay? Let me just go through here. You can make sure that the file that we're using for our design criteria file is correct. You can check that that we're using the 6% metric Emacs file here, right, the rate table, and there we have it. So that's how we check that stuff. Close that. All right, so now we're going to create our super elevation view. So what we're going to do now is, again, make sure that your center line, and in this version of AutoCAD, when our center line is selected, it's a dotted green line, not a solid green line. But now what we're going to do is we're going to create a little profile view to the right of our drawing here. So the way to do that, make sure that your center line is selected. Then over here, you're going to create a super elevation view. You're just going to click that. I believe we just use all of the default settings. Yeah, we do. And then now you're just going to click to the right here. And what's going to happen is where your crosshairs are, that's going to be the bottom left of this little drawing. So just kind of find a nice little spot to put it and just left click. And you can see now we have our super elevation. Now, the first thing I'm going to mention is that there's a couple of warning triangles here. Now, that we haven't made a mistake or anything like that, but sometimes the default settings in Civil 3D, if you go out of those parameters, it just gives you like a little courtesy warning. That's these here, but we can make these disappear, and I'll show you how to do that. It's not necessary, but I'll show you how to just get rid of these little triangles with the exclamation marks. If you go to the top left, click there, and you choose your options here. Brings up a window. The last tab here is called AEC Editor. And what you want to do is you just want to unselect drafting. So the drafting thing should not be selected, and then you just hit OK. And there you go. All those little warnings are gone now. Now, this is, if you can notice this is our kind of cross section of our super elevation. You can see how we have the center line of the road. We have the outside edge and the inside edge and what's happening to it, and all the different, the run out, the runoff, all the station values. Kind of gives us a really nice, robust look at our super elevation in profile view. And we're going to keep that there. Okay. Now, by the way, if you don't see it, you just gotta. There's some rules here. Just make sure that layer 0 is not frozen or anything like that. There. So we're just going to save the drawing at this point. There we go. All right, so now what we're going to do is we want to go back to our drawing. And you know, see on our road alignment, we have all our station values, but what I want to put in, and it has all our details about like where our TS point is, SC point, etc. I want to add the details for the super elevation right on the diagram here. So that's what we're going to do next. So what you're going to do is you're just going to select one of the station values, not these ones here, but one of the ones on the actual road alignment here. You're going to select that. There we go. And you're going to click Edit Label Group. This kind of ribbon comes up. You're going to click Edit Label Group. It brings up this window. So change type. We're going to change type to super elevation critical points. The super elevation label style should be critical points. Right there. You're going to click Add. We're going to keep all of the default settings here okay. And then we're going to hit OK again. And you can see now it's added to our diagram all the critical points to where the super elevation occurs there. Basically, this is where the conditions A, B, C, and D that we speak about in class happen here. Now, it looks like it's upside down, but what's actually happening is, remember, our road is kind of coming from the top down this way. And if you were to stand on the road at the beginning here and look down this way, then these would be, if you can imagine this in a kind of, 3D perspective view, that these would then be, you'd be looking right side up on these ones there, okay? All right. Moving on. Again, we're going to be reviewing and revising the alignments. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to click on the center line of your alignment again. Brings up this ribbon on the top. And you're going to click on Geometry Editor here. That comes up now. So we're going to click on that. Brings up some tools here. Now we want the alignment grid view. And the button that you want to press is this green button right here, right? This is the one that has a green dot on it. And it just brings up all the kind of the information for our curve with the super elevation stuff here. So you can actually edit it. If you've made a mistake, you can edit your A value here, but just by double clicking. I'm not going to do that. The radius can be edited, and then it'll change it right on the drawing. Now, there's a few things to this. Hopefully everything you've done is okay right now. We'll just move forward here. The rule for this is if you're at this point and you've realized you've made a mistake or anything like that, you have a few choices. You can go back to a previous iteration and go from there again. But if you change anything in your road alignment, you have to update your super elevation data again. So that's what these instructions on page 40 are here. I don't have to do anything like that. And then if the road moves, remember these lines are right-of-way lines, these two cyan lines on the side here. Those have to be deleted and drawn again because they don't move with our road. They're just static lines that we've drawn as an offset there, okay? Just make sure I've done everything on the previous page here. Yep. I'm going to close this, bring back our instructions. Now we're going to produce an alignment report. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the left here to our tool space, and you should have a button that says Toolbox on the bottom here. If you don't, the Toolbox button is actually here on the top at Tool Space, and that's why they're all highlighted. Let me show you here. If I click this bottom right one right here, and I turn it off, see my tool space is gone from here. So if you don't see it here, it's maybe just not turned on here. I'm just going to click it, and it's back up there again. Okay, so that's what we want our toolbox to be up. We're going to open up Reports Manager. We're going to open up Alignment, and we want which one? Alignment Curve. So what we're going to do is we're going to select it, right-click, and then hit Execute. I don't believe we're changing any of the settings here. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit OK. And it's just going to provide an HTML file that's just going to save somewhere. So it doesn't matter where it saves. It just make sure you know where it is. I'm saving it to my desktop. I'd made one previously, so I'm just going to replace the one that's there. And now it creates that, and it should automatically open your default browser. There we go. My default browser is Chrome, and I know the instructions here. Hold on a second. The instructions say here, Internet Explorer must be the default browser. It actually works. I don't think even Internet Explorer is around anymore. So you can actually use Chrome or Firefox as well for your browser. So, and we want to save this as a PDF. That's important, okay? So the way you do that, you can do it a few different ways. You can just, select everything. You can, on a PC, you click Control A and then copy everything to a Word document and then save that Word document as a PDF. Another way of doing it is if you have your this is in a browser window, is you go to your print function of your browser here. We're not going to print it to paper, but the destination you're going to change to either print to PDF or save as PDF. So you can, this is a great functionality in the browsers of changing an HTML file right to PDF. I'm going to save it as a PDF. We're just going to save it. You want to save this in the same folder as everything else. So I'm just going to go to the correct folder here. Right in your Seneca Drive, you want to save it. It's called the Alignment Curve Report. Just save it as that. And excellent, we have it there. I'm just going to minimize that and come back here. So we have that report saved. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create we're in the almost at the very end. We're going to do two kind of main things left over now. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a rail line. So all we're going to do we're not going to do this anything with this rail line other than just draw a line on our drawing here. We're going to work with something like this in the next module when we're working in the profile view. So all we want to do is we want to draw a magenta line, which is going to be the center line of our railway. Okay, so to do this, we're going to create a new layer called C Rail Center, make it current, and we're going to make it magenta. All right, so we're going to go to here, create a new layer. This is going to be called C Rail CNTR. Enter that, make it current, and change the color to magenta. Magenta is color number 6. It's this color right here. You can type magenta as well. So it should come up here that's C Rail Center and it's current. It is current. Now we're gonna draw this line, but we're gonna be very precise where this line is drawn. We're gonna draw it with these at these northing and easting components. So one part of the one end of the line is going to be at this northing and easting, and the other one will be here. Now I'm going to show you the way I'm going to do it as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in our main home tab. You're going to draw a line, which is here under draw. You're going to click that, and you're going to create a line by northing easting. Okay. So what we're going to do is on this thing, we're going to enter in the northing and the easting for one point, and then the northing and the easting for the other point. I'm going to do it just by copying right from the PDF document. So I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger so that we can copy it easier. And now you don't copy the letter N. You just want to copy the digits. Okay. I'm going to copy that, go back here at AutoCAD, and I'm just going to paste it here. Here's our northing. All right. Now we're going to go back and grab the easting, only the digits, not the E. I'm going to copy that, paste it there. We have 1. Now that's 1 dot, so it's asking for the second one. I'm just going to copy it here. New northing in there. The other easting. Copy that. If you throw in the letter, you're just going to get a little error message, and you're going to have to re-put it in again. And there we go. You see that magenta line that we've drawn across? That's going to be our a rail is going to be going through this part of the land here, and we're going to be working with that in the profile view. That's all we're going to do with that right now. So once the line appears, you can hit Escape twice just to get out of that line command, and there we have that. So just make sure that that's there. And now we're going to create another road, and this road is going to be called Bovine Boulevard. It has a right-of-way of 30 meters. It's a UCU 70. It's going to intersect with Seneca Drive, okay? So again, we're going to draw another line with the same technique by northing and easting using these coordinates. And I'll tell you where that's going to appear. That's going to appear near the bottom of our drawing. So I'm just going to kind of like focus in on the bottom of our drawing. Around here, you'll see that it's going to similarly, it's going to cut across our drawing here. So I'm going to go to line. We're going to create it by northing and easting. And again, I'm going to copy it just like I did for that rail line here. There's our northing easting, the first point. And then for the other side is the other northing and easting. So I'm going to grab this. And the other easting. That there. And there it is. See that magenta line there that we're creating? That's going to be Bovine Boulevard, we're going to call this, and it's going to intersect with Seneca Drive that we did here. I'm going to escape twice just to get out of our line command. Now, this is just a line. It's not a road alignment. So we have to create this into a road alignment, and I'll show you the technique for that. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here just so we see it a little better. All right, there's our green line for Seneca Drive, and there's our magenta line for Bovine Boulevard. I'm going to go back to just making this a little smaller here. I'll keep it a little bit. Let's see if I can. There we go. Much better. So now what we're going to do is collect alignment into Create Design. So here in our Home tab under Create Design, you can create an alignment, and we're going to create it. Now remember, this is just a line. It's an object, our purple line that we just drew here. So we're going to create a line from that, an alignment from that object. So I'm going to click Alignment, Create Alignments from Objects. We're going to go here. Now, you're going to click on the line, but we want to make sure when we click, that's going to determine where we click is going to determine what direction increasing chainage is. So I want chainage, low chainage to be on the left side and high chainage to be on the right side. So you basically have to click on the half, the left half, somewhere right close to the beginning here. And that kind of tells Civil 3D that this is going to be where the side that low chainage is at. So I'm going to click it. I'm going to hit enter, and you can see an arrow has appeared here. And that's just kind of giving us a little reference that the arrow's pointing to the right. This is the direction from left to right. That's changes are going to be increasing from left to right here. Now, if for some reason it was going the other way, you would just choose, you would type R for reverse. It would point the other way. But since we don't have to do that, I'm just going to hit enter, and it's accepted that. And now we have this window pops up, which is, just go to the next page here. We're going to rename it. So first of all, this name, we're just going to change the word alignment, and it's going to be called Bovine Boulevard, like that. In alignment label set, we're going to do major and minor only. So we're just going to click here and go to major and minor only. We got to make sure that this is checked off here. Erase existing entities. It has to be checked off. So what that's going to do is we're creating an alignment on that road, and it's going to erase that magenta line that we did there and create an actual green alignment road there. And we're going to click OK, and there we go. There's Bovine Boulevard. Now it is automatically put in some default station values, where 0 stations over here, and then it just goes upwards from there. Now, what I want to do is, I don't want these station values. I'm going to put my own station values and this is what I want. Where Seneca Boulevard or Seneca Avenue and Bovine Boulevard cross, the exact intersection, I want that station value to have a certain value. So that's what we're going to change. So you can see it's 0100 here, right where they cross. I want that to be a different value, and then I want it to adjust everything else at the same time. Okay. So we're going to click on that new alignment, on the Bovine Boulevard, select it. And then we're going to go to alignment properties. There we go. Now you want to go to the station control tab here. And we're going to change our station here, to 44,500. So you see how it's the starting is 00. I want to change that. So I want to change to 45. What's the number again? 44,500. Sorry about that. So 44,500. It says changing it. So these warnings are okay. You can just hit OK here. Oh, no, it did the wrong station. So I'm going to just. There we go. So it's 44,500. And then you want to click the button here, pick reference point. We want to tell it where that is. So where is that station, that reference point station? So we're going to click here. We're going to say okay here. Now, I want the intersection to be that point. But make sure that your O snaps have intersections selected. So that's good. You really want to, there's a lot of points around here. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in really tight. It's not the X here. That's not the point that we want. We want the intersection of the two green lines. So you've got to get really close in. That's the intersection right there. I'm going to click that. It comes up. We're just going to click OK. Everything's good here. The station value is right. And you'll see when I click OK and I zoom back now, that intersection is now station 44,500, and all the other station values have been adjusted accordingly. Okay, and we have verified that. So we want to change the layer back to C road row again. Okay, so I'm going to change it to C road row. There we go, to that one. That's the current station now. Now we want to put an offset again. Just like we did for the first alignment, we went offsetted. We're going to put an offset on our Bovine Boulevard, but Bovine Boulevard has a narrower right of width. It's only 30 meters. So we're going to put some offset lines halfway. So 15 meters on each side. So that we just go to our offset button, click that. You have to put the distance, which is going to be 15. You're going to select the alignment and then click above it. It makes it automatically. Select the alignment, click below it. And there it has it. Then we're going to escape out of that. So now we have our right-of-way lines for both our Seneca Avenue and Bovine Boulevard. But all I want to do is I want to trim this little box of cyan lines here so it looks a little bit more like an intersection kind of, right? So we're going to go to our trim command. Now, I think I should have saved this as another, by now I should have saved this as another, I think I skipped a command here, guys, but it's okay. We're going to do this at the last point, but I think a bit earlier. Yeah, I should have saved it as alignment 2. I've kind of skipped that step there. We're going to do that right at the very end here. This should be called alignment 2 where we are right now. So let's just get it done and then we'll save it as that, alignment 2. So we're going to go to your trim command right here. We're going to use cutting edges for our trimming. So I'm going to select that. So what you're going to do is you're going to select your 4 right-of-way lines. So I'm going to select this one. I'm going to select this one. I'm going to select this one. And that one. So I have the 4. I'm going to hit enter. And now I'm going to trim what I want off of there. So I'm going to take that line off, that line, and that line off. And you can see now it looks like a proper, almost like an intersection now, right? There's no lines in the center here. So I'm just going to hit escape to get out of this. Now we're going to make sure that we save this. I should have done this a little bit earlier, but it's still okay. I'm going to hit save as. I'm going to make sure we are in the correct, yep, we're in the correct folder. It's supposed to be alignment 2 by this point. So I'm just going to do that right now. No harm, no foul. It's saved as alignment 2. And that brings us to the end of module number 1. Thank you very much.